Hello, my friends, and welcome to my media museum. Today, we're looking at the Superman films, of which there were 4 originally, or at least that's what I'm going to cover here. I didn't get Superman Returns, and I didn't really care for it, so didn't want to necessarily add that in. This was the first series of films that all had Christopher Reeve as Superman. So that's what I wanted to cover in this episode, was just those films. Um, I liked all of them. I definitely saw this first one in the theater because I remember sitting there wondering, are the credits ever going to end? Is the movie ever going to start? This film had like some of the longest credits I ever saw. And the flipper disc there is not because it's got a full screen and a widescreen. It's simply got a lot of special features on that second side. So all of the films in this release series came out widescreen. So all the DVDs are widescreens. What I'm trying to say. Moving on, we've got the second Superman film here. And I know there was some controversy about Richard Donner being taken off of the project. I don't specifically remember why. Kind of cool there. You've got the World Trade Center in that shot there. It's always interesting to see how many movies that really appeared in. It was quite a few. But anyways, Richard Donner finally had his day and got his cut, more or less his cut, released on DVD. I didn't get to film all the scenes that he wanted, and one of the scenes on that Richard Donner cut is actually a outtake. It wasn't a finished take. But looks like the disc there's got the same shot as from the cover, a little bit different. We've moved his positioning a little, so he's a little closer to the buildings. But these are all in snappers, at least the first ones that came out were, and that's what I have. I have when they first came out. That is the case with a lot of my collection because I was buying them as they were coming out and adding them to my library. And so that's what I've got more often than not, is the way they came out when they first hit stores. And in this case, they were snappers. Now, Superman 3 and Superman 4, they got really mixed reviews. A lot of people don't like these two movies, especially 4. And, I like Richard Pryor. I thought Richard Pryor was a really great comedian. I really found him to be funny and his work to be exceptionally good for the most part. He had his downer films, like every actor that's got a extensive career in film does end up having a dud or two along the way. But for the most part, if it's got Richard Pryor in it, I'm willing to sit down and watch it because I really liked Richard. I found him to be very comical. And so I like this film. Getting a little long-winded there, but getting to the point, I like this movie. I enjoy this movie. I think it's funny. It's got its good and bad points, sure. But as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely worth your time to sit down and watch. But moving on to Superman 4, which we were just talking about, this seems to be the least appreciated of all the Superman films. And yeah, it was a Canon Film Group production. And they even talk about in the documentary how shocked a lot of people were that they got the rights to do it. The only way they got Christopher Reeve to do it, from what I've read, is to allow him to have the say about the storyline, and he wanted it to be somewhat a green storyline. Superman was going to get rid of all the nukes and take away the nuclear threat that we lived under since the end of World War II. Remember Duck and Cover, for those of you that are old enough? Like that would have done anything, huh? false sense of security. That's about all I can say about that. Ducking and covering ain't gonna do nothing if you're in a nuclear strike, especially with the powerful nukes that they have these days. But, you know, we gotta live our lives. We can't worry about such things as that. If it happens, it happens. You know, there's nothing you or I am gonna do about it. It's out of our hands. So, not something that my point is, it's not something that I worry about on a daily basis. I never have, and I grew up in the era where they were trying to make you think about it. But here's the Richard Donner cut. I did buy it because I was really curious after having read about it for years, and then, you know, seeing it come out and being given the opportunity to see how the film was intended. I don't think it's a huge improvement myself. We all have opinions, but having seen the original so many times and then being given this one, it just didn't really thrill me any more than the original did. I mean, yeah, it's a good watch. It's a fun watch, but not tremendously different enough for me to really notice all the differences. There's a few extra added scenes. So there you've got the cover of the disc, which is nothing particularly special, and no insert. So this episode is a little bit short, but that's because that's what we had to cover. That's what we got. And I hope you enjoyed the trip down memory lane there with Superman. And I have the TV show from the 50s. We can do those someday, and I'll put those up on the channel. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I didn't care for the last Superman movie, and I didn't buy it. So don't have that one to share with you. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy life as much as you can, and be good to each other. See you next time.